Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. We got a jam-packed show with you. On the line with us in the Zoomcast, we start off with Becky Alley.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It is my grandma's 87th birthday. Happy birthday, Charlotte.
Got that shout out right away. Hey, Becky, good morning to you. And of course, we got Lisa Lawson coming in from Capital Mortgage. Hey, Lisa.
Good morning, everybody. Happy birthday to Becky Stanler, Becky's grandma.
Becky's always got a shout out. Special guest today, Lisa LaRowe. Hey, eXp Realty. Good morning, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. Super excited to be here today with you rock stars.
Thanks, Lisa. A lot of fun. Always talk mortgages and real estate. Of course, you're down at eXp Realty, Grosse Ile, but I'll say you go from the bottom of the state, Grosse Ile, really on the Canadian border, all the way up to the UP. Anything Michigan, you can call Lisa LaRowe and she'll hook you up. We're going to take those calls, 248-539-9797, all morning long. Michigan football, Michigan State football. You guys, we'll talk all about sports, maybe somewhere in this show. But of course, let's dive right into what is going on with the edge that you need to get these offers accepted as we're in the fall buying season. And there's no doubt, Lisa, these hot homes, those are the ones everyone wants. Those are the ones with the multiple offers, and you better be ready.
You better be ready. You better have your pre-approval ready. You better have proof of funds ready. You better have an aggressive real estate agent on your side, making those phone calls, talking it through, getting a plan in place. You better be ready.
Becky?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, I would say, though, that the offers that buyers are submitting are not as multiple as they were previously, right? So I feel like some buyers were submitting 15 houses, and at that point, they're just like, well, I mean, I'll just throw a rock and see where it lands. Whereas now I feel like they've become a little bit more savvy. They have hooked up with agents like Lisa LaRowe, where they are making a little bit more meaningful offers. And sometimes these buyers are writing 1 and 2 to get them accepted, right? So what are they doing that's a little bit different, right? Well, I feel like they're giving up those occupancies. That is the new thing right now, because you have these reverse contingencies that we speak about, where you have these sellers, we're trying to get them into the buyer's pool. So we got to make sure that when they're getting in the buyer's pool, they have an out, so that way they can go buy a house, and they are going to have the time to do so. So they'll have 30 days to find a house of their choosing, 60-day occupancy. I feel like that is a little bit more of the in vogue thing, more so than I'm going to throw 20 dimes at this house or 20 G's at this house and it, be different. So
Lisa LaRowe, no doubt about it. You said really all the talking points that I like to go over. A strong agent. I mean, strong agent's everything. If you've got, I don't care if the agent's been around for 6 months, if they're licensed or been around for 60 years for that matter, if they have to be able to communicate, they have to be able to email, call, text, communicate, and stay on top of the transaction and really reach out. As we see so often, we're getting these phone calls now. Lisa, you make the offer. Now that listing agent's calling us, the lender, and they want to hear from us. They want us to answer the phone, and they want to feel like that their seller is going to be able to close this with no hassles.
It's imperative, actually. I've definitely had situations where I've had to tell my seller, you're going to need to get a more aggressive lender, a lender that's actually going to answer the phone when we call. And that's been a big issue in some cases, unfortunately. So yes, you definitely want a lender that's going to pick up the phone and going to talk to that agent and explain what's going on with their finances. So yes, you must have that. Some of the things that I've been seeing lately that were outside of the box, getting offers accepted on my listings, occupancy, like you guys talked about. There's also been a couple of instances where the buyer has been actually offering to pay the title insurance or transfer tax for the seller. Another one that I saw recently, paying half of the seller's closing costs. So it's really thinking outside the box. So it's upfront before an appraisal gap guarantee or anything like that. That's paying those maybe part of the commissions that could be considered. Those are very creative offers that I was seeing coming through.
Oh yeah,
definitely part of the Wild West in real estate over the last 2 years, as the inventory has forced our hand to do all sorts of crazy things. And now we're talking about, right, originally it was you can't ask for seller's concessions. Now you actually have to reach out to the seller and say, wait a minute here, I'll even pay your fees, because whatever it takes, including that escalation clause, I'm willing to overpay for this house in today's marketplace, knowing that these are the lowest interest rates I'm ever going to see. And, Lisa, there's no doubt these homes continuously are appreciating. So, what felt like some of our buyers and even a lot of the agents would call me up and say, boy, Harvey, I sure hope it continues. They overpaid, like you said, $10,000, $20,000. Well, not anymore. Those houses that were bought 3 and 4 years ago, now they have over 25% equity. So it's just huge amount of appreciation that's really helping families maybe cover up some of their mistakes if they overbought recently.
Well, think about it.
Absolutely.
Like paying the seller's closing costs is much cheaper than throwing $10,000 over asking, right? So you're talking in some cases, like, transfer tax could be, I don't know, $2,000. Owner's policy could be like, I don't know, 500, whatever it's going to be, right? So that's $1,500 over $20,000. And I know Lisa Lawson is seeing that on her offers as well when they're getting accepted, with these buyers right now. Is that right? Like, it's a lot more of, I'm getting that phone call, right, that said, hey, Becky, is it okay if the buyers pay for the seller's concessions or pay for the seller's?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think we're really trying to think outside the box. We're having a shift, and yes, it's still a seller's market, but like you said, getting these crazy appraisal guarantees and people scrambling at the end, I haven't gotten one for 40,000 guarantee in a long time. They're more of these 2, 3, 5,000, maybe even 10, depending on the sales price of the house. But we're getting outside of the box thinking, where I had one with a 60-day, a period where the person had the right to look for a new home for 60 days. And if they didn't find one in the first 60 days, they had the ability to renew for an additional 60 days. And there was a clause in there that they wouldn't order the appraisal until they found another home. So we're just sitting here, and yes, sometimes it's frustrating and everybody's anxious to get going, but this allowed our buyers to get the house that they wanted, and the sellers ample time to find the correct house. So there's a lot of outside of the box thinking. And I think that's really what we need to do now to make these deals work.
Well,
it's all about the seller's bottom line, right?
Yeah, correct.
So it's all about, and it's all about, can the transaction close? So who cares if someone's writing you a pre-approval for $1 million if the buyer really doesn't want to cough up that money in the event that there's a short appraisal? And that's really what it comes down to. So paying a seller's closing costs is always going to be more realistic than turning around and throwing $20,000, $30,000 at a house. That's like, sounds really scary when you got to write that check.
Yeah, more buyers are taking risks. There's no doubt about that. 20,000 over asking, waiving inspections, willing to buy a fixer-upper that they would previously maybe not even look at. But you watch these HGTV shows and all the special shows, and you can knock out a wall and give it that open concept. People like to say that
when they collect squirrel nuts as their occupation, and they can buy like a $2 million house.
I love those. Yeah, I got my fill of it this morning too, Becky. But congratulations, believe it or not, they did a poll recently, and Michigan was one of the least aggressive states when it comes to waiving things. So hey, listen, I don't know if it's this show or many shows, or we do have some great lenders and some of the greatest real estate agents in Michigan. We have more educated buyers, or maybe we're sharing more information with people here. But again, we were on the risk level. We were considered, there was 2 other states, South Carolina and Michigan, were the least risky states when it came to maybe taking that plunge and saying, you know what, I'm a little riskier on this, but let me just do some due diligence. We talk about it. We got that pass fail on inspections. Hey guys, there's a lot of rain out there and a lot of water. If you have a water problem, you probably found out about it in the last 24 hours. That's for sure.
Yeah, I actually have, me personally, I have a transaction going on right now. The rain calling me, hey, Becky, they found water in the basement. So now they have to figure out how they're going to remedy it during their inspection period, right? Which I was like, it's a blessing in disguise, because it's much rather you find this information out now to figure out if you want to take that steps to address this as your home, versus it actually is your home and you don't have a choice now, right? So you can figure out what the issue is now, or you could have, like, if the timing of this rain would have came like 2 days later, 3 days later, it would have been totally different story for them. So all this rain in Michigan actually a little bit has been a blessing in disguise to some of these home buyers. And I think Lisa LaRowe can kind of attest to that when you're on these home inspections.
Absolutely. There's one thing I do not like is giving up that inspection. Do just about anything else, but give up that inspection. You need that period to make sure that that home is sound. And going into these, especially my first time home buyers, I do not like that to be an option for them. Get in there and get a really good inspection done, and double check during these heavy rains. Get another walkthrough during this rain period and check that basement. I've saved several deals, just like you said, Becky, having it rain and popping in there and double checking and then working it out with the seller prior to closing.
Yeah. Anyone out there is listening, if you've got an inspector on your way over to your house or an appraiser on there and there's water in the basement, might want to tell them to hold off a little bit there and get in touch with your agent. We'll give you tons of information up till 10 o'clock. Then it's sports all day. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. 248-539-9797. Your calls when we come back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
We are back live here, 9:15. If you're just joining us, would you believe it? It's September 25th, 2021. We're in the heart of football season. And of course, you got to tune to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We are brought to you by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. And we've got our whole staff on: Becky, Lisa Lawson, special guest Lisa LaRowe, eXp Realty, Grosse Ile, and all of Michigan. Lisa LaRowe, thanks for joining us. And you did a fantastic job on our podcast. We try to touch on all these really interesting conversations about mortgages and real estate now, as a lot of our younger buyers are buying and getting into the housing fix. And a recent poll shows us, yes, the younger Generation Z feels great about home ownership. Nearly 84% recently surveyed said owning a house is one of their major things that they want to do to accomplish the American dream. Hey, Becky, Lisa, they're willing to give up vacations. They're willing to give up drinking alcohol was number one to save some additional money. And of course, number three, don't go out to those restaurants if you are saving for a house, because every time, guys, I go out to a restaurant, hey, God bless you, go and spend your money. But it's $150, it's $200. That's money that you can really start finding ways to save some additional money if you're young and you want to become a homeowner.
I feel like homeownership has always been like, even if you take it back to the, back in the day, right? It's always been a box that people want to check, home ownership, right? I feel like there's been some, people get scared, so they are renting, but I feel like that is now no longer what people are wanting. Why are they wanting to invest in other people's futures and their money, right? When they can invest in themselves, especially when we are in a perfect storm where we have been in all this tragedy and turmoil. On the flip side of it, people have been very blessed to get extra buying power with these lower rates, right? And I feel like, even more so right now, it is about loving where you live more so than anything. That's still so much a prevalent topic because, COVID-19 is very much an issue. It's very much like, anyone could get it at any point in time. And guess what? You're going to be on a 10-day quarantine just like that because someone in your house or because you got in contact with someone. And I feel like everyone wants to get back to that normalcy, but I know Lisa LaRowe can attest to this, like loving where you live is everything. And being from where I'm at, I know for sure that if you live on that island, you're all about that island. It is about like, are you coming on the island? We have to go to the island for horseback riding for the girls, right? So we're over there every Tuesday or Monday, I should say, but people just love Grosse Ile. So I do want you to kind of talk a little bit about, because like your business isn't just Grosse Ile, but you're from Grosse Ile, like you love Grosse Ile. And that is a true testament of what I was just kind of talking about.
Absolutely, Becky. Love where I live. Grosse Ile is such a beautiful place. I've lived here for 20 plus years. And I just wanted to mention that the Grosse Ile businesses have really struggled and suffered through this bridge closure that we've had way longer than expected. And we are having a Paint the Town Red celebration on October 9th. Ooh. And everyone is welcome to come. All of the businesses will be open and celebrating. We have most of it is going to be outside, weather permitting, of course. We'll have street vendors and music, live music, food, the food trucks, and it will be Lisa LaRowe Realty's 1-year anniversary also. So I
happy anniversary.
My office last year. So this is pretty exciting stuff coming up. And so yes, I'm a huge fan of Grosse Ile, despite the bridge closure. And we work through it. We work through it because we love our community. So yeah, come join us, you guys. This will be a lot of fun. October 9th from, I'm going to be open, I know, from like 12 to 7 at my office. So
everyone should get on the island. That I like that love where you live whole theme. And, some of the areas really suffered some horrible depreciation as the economy got beaten up in, of course, 2007 to 2011 or 12. Grosse Ile was one of the islands. In fact, Lisa, I thought it was slow to recover. But boy, in the last 2 years, this pandemic has really shown people that you better love where you live. And Grosse Ile want to be one of those great areas, of course, having a couple golf courses, country clubs, and restaurants, and really just the expansion in the river and the outdoor living that's available there. So it's really exciting for families all around Michigan. And again, you've got to love where you live. So make sure you give us a call at Capital Mortgage Funding. Get in touch with one of our top mortgage loan officers, and we'll go ahead and get you set up with that strong approval letter and teach all about home ownership. That's the key. Get a little bit of knowledge behind you, and you can go out there and really find the house that'll fit whatever your demands are nowadays. And everyone has these different demands. Lisa Lawson, you had some different demands. You had to have that finished basement, and these are things that families are looking for. But we talk about putting money into a house. We got to be careful. Again, it's still the kitchens and baths. And if you have a house that you're thinking about selling, some of the things that you need to do, get in touch with your realtor to find out where you need to put those dollars.
Absolutely. I was going to say, great agents like Lisa LaRowe will come through when you're, seriously thinking about selling your house and give you kind of punch list, right? This maybe needs refreshing. This needs to be replaced. Some people go over the top and they start, replacing and updating everything at that point. You're not going to make as much money. And some of those things aren't necessary. Some of these people are going to be doing it when they move in. They're going to paint the house the color that they want. Unless your walls are really beat up, maybe that's not something you need to do. But that's why you need to ask an expert like Lisa to make sure you're not wasting your money. You're maximizing what you're going to make on your house, whether you're going to roll that into another house or whatever your game plan is. Those are the experts. That's why we rely on them. So.
demand for vacation homes has definitely been up. And Lisa LaRowe, I was going to reach out to you and say, some of the families said, you know what, I want to buy my primary residence and it's a vacation home.
Yep.
I myself, I live on a little body of water here in Oakland County. And, and that's sort of the appeal to a lot of families out there. Anything on the water, on the island, boy, they have gone up in value.
Absolutely. A little difficult to get your hands on some of those. It's a running race. You must be on top of it at all times, checking those listings nonstop, truly nonstop, and get creative. Like we just talked about. One of the things that you touched on, Harvey, was about the new buyers that are coming on, these young first-time home buyers. Wow, they're so impressive. I love working with them. They seriously impress the heck out of me at their drive, their knowledge that they have compared to the previous young buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They research before they reach out to an agent. And I tell you what, when they're listening to their agent and you become a team, it is powerful. And we get them right in a house with way less frustration, I think, than we had in the past, because they're educated. They're educating themselves, and then they're listening to their agent and their lender.
I was going to say, Becky, I'm shocked when sometimes they're not educated, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because of the internet. There's so much information out there that you can gather. You can call people. You can listen to podcasts. You can listen to our radio show. There's information. There's people that are willing to talk with you. Maybe we at first thought people were shy, but it's about a 50-50 split. The world's a 50-50 split. So we're going to see some young buyers that are very knowledgeable about what's going on in a house and how they're going to attack that purchase, where they want to live, and they have it all figured out. Then the other half, maybe not so much and need some more guidance. And that's fine. That's what you want to, that's why you want to give us a call we can walk you through some of these steps.
Yeah, I feel like originally the first time home buyer, you would see in their mid to late 20s. And I also think that part of the first time home buyer, that change is you're seeing them more in their 30s, being that first time home buyer. I'm not saying like people in their 20s are not buying their first time homes, but more so than not, if someone's a first time home buyer now that I'm seeing, they are in their 30s. They've, been established. They've been renting. They know what they want. They're waiting. They're not rushing to, I got to be married by the time I'm, like I have a house by this date. I got to be married by this date. It's not like that anymore, which is nice to see the evolution of the next generation because they are more savvy. But you're right. Sometimes too much information is bad information, right? When you have all this finger, like the typing cat, right? You can just get on anything. You're like, oh, the internet said, right? Well, sometimes it can be oversaturated. Too much information can be bad information. So that's why, you need to reach out, start that conversation as soon as possible with a lender. That's where it starts, or with your agent. And then they're going to get you hooked up with a good lender, someone that is going to answer the phone, educate you. Lisa, Harvey, Lisa Lawson, we all spend a lot of time on the phone, advocating, educating, teaching anyone, whether it's your first time or second time, right? Maybe you didn't buy a house for another 10 years. All those things matter. And the sooner you start that conversation, the better. But you're right. They are savvy because they are seeking the tools to get to know what they need to know so they can put themselves in a better situation. And credit is always, always, always a talking point. Always.
Hey guys, new construction numbers were up a little bit. August 2021 from previous August 2020 last year. New construction was up 9%. Sort of a good thing because as continued new construction contracts get signed, we know about a year from now, or maybe somewhere between 9 and let's say 15, 16 months when those homes are complete. Well, Lisa LaRowe, we see those families are going to be putting their houses on the marketplace. So maybe there's a good portion of new construction families. We want to see more and more of that because we know if there's existing families stepping up into those new constructions, they'll definitely get their houses on the market.
And that's an exciting thought right now. We are so low on inventory. Any good sign of a house coming on the market, we're excited. We're jumping for joy over here.
Okay, I'm going to give away my secret. Somehow when I was writing this either last night or this morning, I'm like, okay, so people are writing new construction. That means if they sign their name and Mr. and Mrs. Smith are going to build a house and it's going to close next August, well, I want their phone number if I'm a real estate agent. All right, I'll give away all my listing real estate agent information right now. But go to those new constructions, see if you can get a list of the families that are buying new homes. Won't they be selling their existing homes next year or maybe in the next 6 to 12 months? So maybe a little tip out there for any of the listing agents trying to find those additional listings out there as families, again, have to make that tough decision. Do I sell now and take the money while I know the market's great? Or do I wait till next year so I don't have to move choice? Lisa LaRowe, there's no doubt that becomes sort of the problem too with families, how to get into selling the house now. And then where do I go if I sell too soon?
Absolutely. So that's when we get into all of those contingencies of seller to find a house before they will close on their current home, or the other way around, that they're contingent upon selling that home. So we run into a lot of contingencies. It's great that you can have a team working on your side, to everyone working together for the same goal, because it can get really complicated at times making those dates match.
The average loan size on new construction, the mortgage size, the loan size, $406,922,000. Over 40% of the new construction mortgages are over $400,000. That's right, folks. You want to buy one of those beautiful, brand new sparkling homes, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. We'll show you how to make it affordable right when we come back. 248-539-9797.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Are back here live in the studio. Jamie Samuelson studio, of course. The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show coming up on our 23rd year. You can reach us all at Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. That's 1-800-569-7283. Get real professionals, real experienced mortgage people to work with you. That's the key. Get a really strong team together like we've got here on the radio. Becky, Lisa Lawson, special guest Lisa LaRowe from eXp Realty. And of course, eXp Realty, you're seeing more and more of these names out there. These are the agents that are virtual. You can find them anywhere. You just got to give them a phone call. They'll come and meet with you if you need to meet at a coffee shop. Lisa's very flexible. So whether you're on Grosse Ile, if you want to meet somewhere, anywhere for that matter, just give her a phone call and she'll hook you up. Hey, Lisa, I was on the break, we were talking about one of your great listings there on the island. It's hard to find a ranch. Boy, no one can find a ranch. And you've got a ranch listing on the island. Tell us a little bit about the house.
Yes, it's on Glengarry and it is 1,800 square feet. It is a brick ranch. It has a hot tub, a beautiful backyard, wooded backyard. It's updated kitchen. It does need some updates in the baths, but full basement, only listed at $299. So this is a great house. This house will not last. It will be gone in a minute.
Oh yeah.
So
1,800 square feet with a basement and garage on the island. And that's all you need. It's got some updates on it. And again, just at the $300,000 price point. Homes, we watch TV. That home is probably worth what, Becky, $750 in California?
I don't know. It sounds like a unicorn sighting to me on Grosse Ile. So, a brick range. It's like that water, that house on the water that you were just talking about. I think you got a unicorn listing, in my opinion.
Demand for vacation homes definitely been up. We always talked about it last year. And again, with these low interest rates, everybody wants a piece of a home on a water. So definitely find out what how you can make things to your advantage in today's competitive marketplace. I remember just a year or two ago, I've had so many clients looking to purchase these lake homes on smaller lakes all around Michigan, in Jackson, in the different counties all around Michigan where there's these smaller lakes. And they thought they were going to have to overpay 2 or 3 years ago. Boy, Lisa LaRowe, you can't even find a home anymore. I had so many families trying to get a piece of Jackson or the Irish Hills area and all the different lakes, and even in southern Michigan. And boy, those prices have gone up quite a bit.
They are gone the minute they hit the market, quite honestly, and a lot of times gone prior to even hitting the market. I have a similar situation with clients who are looking for a property up north or any areas like that. I sent some clients recently out there and they came back very frustrated with everything's gone. So it's just going to be a process for those people. Stay on top of it. Don't give up. Stick with your agent. Work together and you will get that house. I've put several under contract as well. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just you're going to have to be diligent.
Stick with the plan for sure. The Fed's going to meet again on November 3rd. And boy, oh boy, they're meeting just the other day on the 22nd and really ruffled the mortgage world just a little bit. Rates are trending upward. I don't know what you're listening to. We do this every day. They're trending upward. We don't know what the future is going to hold. The next Fed meeting will be November 3rd. And again, we talk about upward trends. So maybe dive in a little bit faster if you're thinking about buying or refinance your house. We've been really busy and refinancing have been picking up quite a bit. I'll go back to Lisa Lawson. There's no doubt about it, Lisa. Our clients that are taking advantage of the equity in the house. Boy, my clients just bought a year or two ago, 5% down. Now they're refinancing, dropping to a 20 or a 15 year, and we're removing the PMI. It's been unbelievable. The equity is gangbusters all around Michigan and all around the country.
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you take advantage of not only reducing your rate, especially if you can kind of maintain the payment? I did something similar, drop the PMI, drop somebody's rate on a 20-year, and their payment was like $7 more than they were paying on their 30-year. So, and now you're establishing equity faster, meaning when you go to sell that house, you're going to have that much more to work with, to do with whatever you want, whether you're rolling it into the next house or you're going to sell, retire, and travel the world. You're going to have all that extra money. So it makes no sense not to do it. And at least evaluate it. You know what I mean? You may have gotten a crazy good deal a year and a half ago and you have a phenomenal rate. And maybe you had already put 20% down. So you don't need to drop PMI, but making a phone call costs you nothing. We're going to be upfront and honest with you. We're going to let you know if we can benefit your situation in any way, if you're already in the best situation you can be. So it's just a phone call. I suggest everybody do it now before these rates continue to tick up.
Yeah, get educated on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to chime in real quick. So I have a couple clients where they are being solicited by their current servicer, right? So they got reached out. They were in a current FHA situation and they said, do an FHA streamline, right? So an FHA streamline, you just basically reduce your rate, but you can't roll in any of your closing costs. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? Well, they reached out and I said, no, why would you do that? Why would you do that when we know that you have equity in your home? I do not feel that's not going to be the best vehicle for you, because now you're going to continue to pay PMI for no reason when we know that you're in an equity position to take advantage of switching to a conventional rate, shortening your term, all of the things that you guys were just talking about. But if they didn't, know who I was, they wouldn't have reached out and they would have wasted their time going into an FHA streamline refinance when they could be PMI free, lower rate, saving tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. So right now they are literally saving $300 a month, or no, $200 a month. And we dropped into a 20-year because there was a escrow shortage. And now we're adjusting those things. So there's a million different scenarios that are going to put you in a better position. Everyone's situation is different. It's not cookie cutter, but again, like we speak on it. It's all about that conversation. And just because someone is soliciting and using that Kirby vacuum cleaner sales pitch to get their foot in the door, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the best route for you individually, because people are literally saving hundreds of thousands of dollars and monthly just by getting rid of that PMI.
Yeah, we're constantly giving out good advice. And this, again, the show's been on for almost 23 years, but I've been around now going on 30 years. Most of the staff at our office has this experience where we can get into detailed conversations on why. At least let us review this. As you mentioned, Becky, there's some boiler room shops in the mortgage world. They read scripts. Some of these huge lenders, that's all they do is they're constantly looking for the next sort of way to get over. Over on the client. Sometimes they don't even know if they're talking about mortgages, or it's fun for us when we see a successful home owner buying the right house, spending the right amount of money on it. And again, they've got the plan moving forward. Becky, you said it. FHA streamlines, that could be a good loan for somebody, but most of our FHA clients, they could come back to us a year or two later, remove the MIP, that mortgage insurance premium, get into a conventional loan. And then, of course, Lisa Lawson, you'll know it. We're dropping so many of these families into 15 and 20-year loans. And those amortization charts are what they love to see. They're like, wow, Harvey, I'm really going to own this house before I'm 70 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. Home ownership is great. It offers not only obviously stability, but it increases people's financial stability as well. So you have equity to tap into. You've always got a place to call home. If there's an emergency, God forbid, there's equity in that you could take out, in the future if you really needed to. So there's so many other benefits besides obviously, taking a house and making it your home, to being a homeowner. But to kind of piggyback on Becky's talking about the FHA streamline, VAIRRLs, which is an interest rate reduction loan, is another big one where you don't need an appraisal. And I recently had one call and say, look, I want to get this done. They offered me this rate, And it's a great loan. And I love helping vets. But when you're doing that, if you have 20% equity, you should be looking at a conventional product, because there's a huge funding fee with all VA loans. They get rolled on top of the loan amount. And in this case, this is a pretty large loan amount. They were going to be rolling in almost over a $10,000 funding fee. Yes, there's monthly PMI. There's no monthly PMI, but on a conventional loan, there's no monthly PMI and no funding fee. So that means when you go to pay off that loan, you're not rolling in this 10 grand of, I hate to say, I don't want to call it a junk fee, but it's a fee. That's all it is. So, talk to the people who are educated. We can explain these nuances to you and make sure you're in the absolute best product for you, so you can really enjoy the home that you're living in and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah, don't be afraid of it. Again, that's a good shout out to all our veterans out there. You might have taken advantage of the veterans loan. Fantastic. VA loans are unbelievable. 0 down, no monthly mortgage insurance, just the upfront funding fee. But when it comes time for a refinance, if your credit's strong and you've got that equity, now you want to switch that loan, drop the term, and get it into a conventional term that doesn't have any mortgage insurance or any of these funding fees. You guys brought up something pretty interesting, the remodeling that's going on. And I got a ticket text here. And I'm just going to sort of read the ticket text. The new younger buyers might be educated, but they are not so sophisticated when it comes to the quality of what they're looking at here, the cabinets, window. It doesn't always mean that if it's new, it's good quality stuff. And that sort of goes back to what people were doing. There were their flippers out there. We saw them all. They were putting perfume on a pig, slapping on the white Kills paint to cover up some nastiness in the basement and maybe some old water stains. But a lot of times there's some great remodelers out there. The people that remodel these homes and put the love into them. And I know Kevin McCallum, I know some good people. Those homes are getting top dollar too. You really need an educated realtor to point out these things, Lisa LaRowe. There's a huge difference, including I've had some family members say, wow, Harvey, after I got into the house, this wasn't quite what I thought it was, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. You really have to look closely at these homes that have recently been flipped. And you can tell usually by just the sales times, right? You do the history on the house, you look what's going on, and you can look closely at a lot of these flip homes. And unfortunately, I'm pointing out a lot of things to especially my first time home buyers. And I'm steering them more towards, grandma's house that hasn't been remodeled, but very much taken care of. And, you can decorate later, you can upgrade later, but these are solid homes. And I'd much prefer to put you in this home than this other home that we have no idea. It sat vacant for 3 years, different things like that. So yes, you definitely want someone who can give you good direction and a great inspector. That's imperative.
Yeah, and again, we said these pass-fail inspections are fine and dandy. You can do those nowadays. Have the inspector go to the house. Just put it in the language that you're not going to nitpick them on the GFI plugs and the small stuff. All right, we got tons of information to share with you. It's 9:41 if you're just tuning in. This weather's going to clear out, that's for sure. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glanson Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:45. I'm going to say it's a gorgeous day because it's going to be a gorgeous day. And we got tons of football. We got Tiger baseball coming up after us. Pat Caputo with sports. Then, of course, we've got Michigan football a little bit later. We're going to have it on WMC also here. And we got Tiger baseball. I don't know. We got so much sports here. Just keep it our 97.1 The Ticket. And yes, the Arizona State game is a little bit later tonight. If you follow the Sun Devils, they're taking on Colorado. My heart's been broken as I follow my daughter's college teams. Maybe this is a year I got to get back and follow Michigan or Michigan State football. So keep it here on 97.1 for all your updates. And, of course, the Tigers trying to get to 500. We're running out of time here. 248-539-9797. Listen to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Lisa LaRowe from eXp Realty. And, of course, my staff, Becky Yaley, Lisa Lawson, join myself, Harvey Freed, and we take all your calls. 248-539-9797. Lisa, we already talked about your listing, but tell us a little bit about your local shout outs. I always like that stuff.
Sure. So I'm a trainer and a coach at eXp, and I have a group, Rising Stars. So I wanted to mention all my rising stars, and specifically my newest business partner, Carlos Ladie. Shout out to Carlos. Also wanted to mention, thank you to all of, snaps for Carlos. I also wanted to mention the linemen that are out there right now, men and women that are restoring all the power. We've had some really windy days and a lot of hardworking people out there right now. So mention to them. And lastly, I have a local store that is friends of mine, Pebblebrook Avenue in Wyandotte. They're new to Wyandotte business, and they are adorable, just handmade crafts and items that I went in there and spent so much money. It was so beautiful, all the things. I'm going back and watch my pocketbook because here we go.
Well, those are fun gifts. The holidays are right around the corner, and before you know it, you buy those little knickknacks. And again, why not support your local businesses? What was the name of the business again? What was it?
Pebblebrook Avenue.
All right, Pebblebrook Avenue in Wyandotte. There's your shout out, guys. And if you're looking for little cute gifts, in the Downriver area, go give them a quick visit. Just tell them Lisa LaRowe sent you. Right, that's all.
You got like the local businesses. I think I'm all about that, supporting your local business. Because you always have those big box corporations that are going to be around no matter what, but the local businesses are the ones that have been hit the hardest during this pandemic. And unfortunately, some of them couldn't make it out of it. So, it's nice to see that, people are coming in still, or the ones that have made it. We need to make sure that we do support those smaller shops to make sure that they're around, because sometimes they have those things that you're not gonna be able to get anywhere else, right? Those loving, like where it's made with love, someone made it with love. And that's the difference when you're passing on that gift to somebody else, or even for your own home.
I like throwing that shout out to the linemen too, man. We've had some crazy weather this year. Definitely the winds last week have knocked the power out. Several people and clients we've heard. I've met some people recently. They're like, Harvey, my power's still out. So yeah, a little shout out to the linemen working. Hopefully get the power restored out there. It's been one of those weird years and stuff. And I'll tell you, I don't know, maybe when you're buying the house, you got to find out what's going on in the community, right? Does power always go out here? Do your cell phones drop? Lisa LaRowe, there's a lot to know about home ownership. I always tell people I love the old-fashioned closings because I went to one recently, and boy, oh boy, the sellers told our buyers everything they needed to know about the neighborhood. Besides what garbage day was, they learned a lot about the neighborhood and things to, look out for and things to really help themselves with home ownership.
I was so fortunate this week to actually have an old school closing, and it felt amazing. We had buyers and sellers and lender and everyone in the same room, all talking about the house, it was wonderful. And I did miss that as we went through the pandemic when we're closing in the car by ourselves, not even near our clients. You miss a lot of those conversations. And so, yes, yesterday was awesome. And we actually talked about how great it was to all be in the same room and be able to share, hey, my neighbor on the left, he does this and he's handy. And my neighbor on the right, if you ever need anything, he has all the tools. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, especially in today's marketplace, you want to have that warm, fuzzy feeling. As we talked about it earlier in the show, boy, it's hard to get an offer accepted, especially, let's say, for those first-time home buyers. Boy, the price ranges, I'll even say from $225 to $300, $350. Lisa LaRowe, there's nonstop action on those homes. Very hard to get an offer accepted, so you might find yourself overpaying.
Absolutely. You have to be creative. And I really do feel that it starts with the relationship. First, you build your team with your lender, your client, and your realtor. And then you build the relationship with the other side of the transaction. So right away, if my client is interested in a home, I am building a relationship with that listing agent right away, staying in touch, finding out what I can do, what's important to the sellers, and what can I do to make this a great offer for your seller.
Hey guys, I get bombarded with shout outs for some golf fundraisers and stuff, but this one really, I think, is a great one. They're going to be donating all their proceeds from this fundraiser, Superheroes Golf Classic fundraiser, to the Children's Foundation. The money's going to go to Children's Hospital in Detroit, and that's what's cool. So it's going to be out at the Wingate Golf Course Monday, October 4th. And Jeff Higgins, he's the realtor, Higgins Realty Group out in Birmingham here. He's just got this thing going. I told him I'd give him another plug for his event, but they've got some awesome foursomes all set up. And if you want some sponsorship opportunities, those are available too. Check it out. If you want to get in touch with it, go to www.superheroesgolfclassic.com. And again, it's a good fundraiser. The money's going to the Children's Hospital of Detroit. That's always cool stuff. And again, we'd like to hear from you here in our last few minutes. 248-539-9797. Take all your calls. If you have a call about mortgages, purchasing house, refinancing it. Hey, you guys, we know these rates could burp up here in 2022. That's what they're telling us already. But let's just throw it out there. If the interest rates end up going from 3% to 3.5%, or even closer to 4%, I see no slowdown in the marketplace. Becky, go ahead and comment on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like people are always going to want to buy houses, right? So even when the rates were 6%, people were still buying houses, right? But the point of the matter is that right now time is of the essence, right? Because if you're waiting for the market to slow down, well, guess what? It's going to be offset with higher interest rates, which means naturally a higher payment. And right now is the best time, even though you might have to put in a couple more offers, even though you might have to put a little bit more effort into it, the end result is going to result in a cheaper payment for you with more house versus in year two, we might see higher rates, which means less house, same, more payment, right? So that's a huge thing. But the cool thing, like I've mentioned before, Michigan is now 365. So we're not seeing those chunks of inventory come on the market in this, like in the spring and summer, like we used to. Sometimes you're seeing those, those houses come in March, in January. I mean, people are literally buying houses all the time now. And I think it's a beautiful thing that Michigan has became a 365 state the way it has been.
I mentioned earlier in the show, go to these new construction subdivisions and find out who's building houses, find out who's going to be building, because they will be selling most likely their primary residence as they get within a month or two of closing on their new construction house. Sometimes maybe the builders are willing to share some information. And again, that gives the people a peace of mind, knowing that maybe they already have their house sold. There's some things you can do ahead of time to really set yourself up and give yourself a peace of mind when you're selling real estate, because that's hard. You've got 3 or 4 kids. How do you transfer all those kids? They got school into a whole new school district in the whole thing. There's so many, we call it moving parts. You're definitely going to want to have a plan, and the professionals helping you all the way along. Lisa Lawson, if you got some last words here, could we be wrapping up? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think obviously prepare, and educate yourself. And if you don't know the answers, find an expert who does and give us a call.
Becky Ellie. Becky,
sorry, oh yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear what you're saying.
That's okay. We're just going to do wrapping it up here. We got a couple minutes left here.
No, yeah, obviously, I don't know. It's my grandma's birthday. I'm super pumped about it. She's 86. She's a freaking rock star. And we're going to go over and hang out with her today. And, obviously we're here to take all your calls. We're here to be a part of whatever it is that you need to be a part of. I already took 3 calls even before the show, to be honest with you, about inspections and water and all the ththings.
Well, definitely. Now's the time to consolidate your debt out there. And of course, if you're looking for home ownership, Lisa LaRowe, home equity grew $2.9 trillion. Boy, oh boy, the families that hung onto their house during the recession, the families that have bought houses in the last 3 to, let's say, 7 years, they've got a ton of equity on them. It's enabling them to do a lot of great things, maybe pay off their college debt and some other things. Give me your last thoughts on home ownership.
Yeah, home ownership is where it's at. Definitely. It should be something that all Americans are striving to do. I'm a huge, can you hear me?
I think we lost.
Yeah. Oh.
You got me on that last little,
cute.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yay.
I had some background noise.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. But yes, home ownership is definitely where it is at. You should be striving for that. It's saving your money. It's living where you're going to live and saving your money and not paying it towards someone else's mortgage. definitely reach out to us. We will help you. We will walk you through the process. We will make it simple and easy. Also, just wanted to mention one more time, the Paint the Town Red, which is in Grosse Ile. It's October 9th. It's on a Saturday. We're going to be out there from 12 to 7 at my office, Lisa LaRowe Realty on Macomb Street. So
there you go. Check it out. If you're ever in Grosse Ile, Lisa LaRowe Realty on Macomb. That's where all the real estate offices are, but she's one of the best. Definitely check her out. That's right, folks. Stop playing around with those credit cards and juggling them. Now's the time. You got equity in your house. You can consolidate your debt. Call Capital Mortgage Funding all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. For Becky, Lisa Lawson, I'm Harvey Free, Lisa LaRowe down there in eXp Realty. We'll catch you next Saturday.